the east, from the east, from the east. From the east, from the east, from the east.
What's up, my people? Welcome to your I Am Alpha podcast. Today, I'm pumped because we have our second woman on today, right? So obviously, shout out to my girl Tiffany. She rocked it. And today, I have my friend Jennifer.
Hey, y'all.
How does that feel to hear me say Jennifer?
Yeah.
Is that weird?
It's weird.
Is it
Because
weird?
I'm used to Coach Jen or
Yeah.
Jay Jen. Yeah.
Well, prior to the podcast, we talked last week, and I told you, and I'm telling everybody else, I'm not identifying you as just Coach Jen because you're such an amazing, beautiful person. I cannot limit you to just someone in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
Because you go, beyond. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. Today, our subject title is what should I label it?
I don't know what men want to know, what women want to know.
That's it. What men want to know. Can I say it like that?
Yep.
What men want to know, what women want to know. So what came to my thought when we created this content, when we talked about it previously last week, was a movie with, I think it's Mel Gibson. And he had some type of gift in the movie where it took place where he can he can hear the thoughts of women.
Interesting.
So he's walking. Have you seen that movie?
No.
All right, watch it tonight.
Okay.
It's actually pretty cool.
Okay.
And I think they did a new version of it where I think Taraji, somebody played it where she can hear the thoughts of men. So he's walking through his corporate office and the girl's like, I wish I had a chance. Or he can hear all these thoughts.
Yeah.
So he's literally using that for the opportunity to get what he want out of women.
Okay.
But then he started noticing how his actions was really affecting women emotionally. So it was really a dope concept. So that's today.
Okay.
Right? I want to be able to ask you questions.
Yeah.
Ask me questions. We
Okay.
received some off of social media. So if we get some, I have a couple on right now. Let's just start with those. And then I have one that I thought about on the way here.
Okay.
So, well, who goes first? Does lady goes first? Ladies go first?
You can ask first.
Yes, first. All right. So the question, Jay Cook, it can be on anything. Just what would you want to know about a woman? So the first one, fitness, relationships, food. It can be anything. But preferably know that the I Am Alpha podcast is not a fitness podcast. This is how we open up as a voice for men to be able to communicate with other men, women, and society. So that's the I Am Alpha podcast. Jay Cook asked the same question that I said on Facebook earlier.
Okay.
All right, and I'm gonna point the camera here so you can see it. So my question for women.
Oh, goodness.
You seen the pause? I'm gonna look at the camera.
Okay.
Why after church you say, "Hey, I'm hungry," and I say, "Okay, cool," and you say, "You pick," and I say, "Okay." So I say, "Hey, I want to go to Grace's." I don't want to go to Grace's. Grace's line is too long. Well, I want to go to Bella Green. Well, Bella Green don't cook it the way I want. Why every time we actually pick, you decline, but you want us to pick? Can you break it down for us?
That's so funny because I feel like that's such a, that happens, it's like a joke. I feel like it's just like a common joke.
Okay.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know because I feel like everyone is different.
Yeah.
Everyone is different. So for me,
Have you done it?
I have never done that. I literally have never done that
We need
because
more
I feel
genes.
like if I want someone to decide,
You let them decide.
just let them decide. But
Only
right,
makes sense.
it only makes sense. And if I have a preference, then I'll just voice the preference. So if it's a matter of you being indecisive, like the woman, if she's just indecisive, then that's that woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because for men, we hear it, and sometimes it's like, I want Grace's. I don't want Grace's. I'm not saying Tina, no, she do it, guys. I don't want graces. You want graces. It's like, do you want to argue? Like, we could just tell me you want to argue. Like, I'm hungry, you hungry.
Yeah.
But it's always, again, like you said, it's a joke sometimes, I
Yeah.
think, between men and women.
Yeah.
But it is a sense of reality, I believe,
Yeah.
as well. So,
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm that indecisive.
yeah.
Like if I want something, I just say like, let's go to Chipotle.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
If you don't want to go there, well, all right, let's pick something else. I don't
love
know.
it.
It's
I
just, it shouldn't be that difficult.
Jay Cook, I think that was an amazing opening question because
Yes.
I promise, if you listen to my Facebook or Instagram live on the way here, you will see that I said I was going to ask that question. So thank you for asking that question. So for everybody else that I have on my Instagram, I'm about to end it. All right, I know.
Okay.
Thank you. We see y'all later, but you got to listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're about to get down to the nitty gritty of the questions that I received. But I asked the question. It is your turn, my friend. And know this, disclaimer, we didn't plan this out.
Yeah.
We didn't go through a text blast, say you asked this, I asked that. This is I am alpha. That's whatever pop into our head.
It's funny because it's hard to think of what I would want to know about a guy. Because I was sharing with you earlier that if I want to know something, I'll just ask. So anything that I feel like I don't know is probably because it hasn't come up yet.
Okay.
But one thing I do wonder about, and I was asking this earlier, it's just like why it seems like when guys come together, it's just like this weird male energy that comes out. It's just like, what's up, bro, man? How's it going, bro? And it's like, but with it's the guy and the girl, they don't do that, which I guess I can appreciate because I don't want
them to act that way.
Yeah, I don't want you like, being all rough. So, but why do when guys get together, why are y'all just like, just so rough?
I think I am that way, to be honest. And let's do this too for the remainder of the questions. I'm going to give you my perspective on what Chris does, but I'm also going to speak based upon what I think men and my peers would react and also say.
Okay.
So personally, I think the bro code for me is if I see my boy Taco, aka his real name is Steven, but Taco, Leroy, Carl, like people I grew up with for 20, 30 years, and I get to see them. It's like you almost become that kid again.
Yeah.
Like man, the 37-year-old Chris is a lot different from the 7-year-old Chris. But sometimes when you haven't seen someone in such a long time, I think that's part of it. Now I'm speaking in general for everybody, but for me personally, I can see us going back and forth on this. I think we all wear faces. We all have makeup at some time, or some people say church clothes, where when you meet someone, you have a certain identity you want to provide for them. But with your peers, there's no identity. It's who you are. So when I see my boys, sometimes it's like, so I grew up in East Houston, right?
Okay.
So the way that I talk here is not typically the way we talk growing up. So when I see someone here, I might be like, hey, Jen, what's up?
Yeah.
When I see my people on the East, I'm like, what do you do? So to be able to kind of put your guard down and speak, I think that's one thing. And then when you're trying to date someone, you just really want their thumb up on your Facebook status.
True. Okay.
But after you get so many thumbs up, she has that expectation, and you not doing what you used to do. It's kind of like, eh. So I would say for me personally, when I get around my peers, it's like I haven't seen you in such a long time, or that. And then the last thing, sports. Locker room. It's just like any person that was an athlete, you would say, of course, playing in the games was fun, but man, the locker room time was super dope. Like, it's no filter. You talk about whatever, you say whatever. And I think that's what we want sometimes. That's why I think we look forward to those that take God trips, the locker room conversations.
Okay.
And I think that's part of the bro code. But I think that's a dope question.
Yeah, interesting. It's funny because I think women do the same thing in a way.
Yeah.
Or actually, it's funny because even within like my circles, we talk about when girls are with girls, we just, you know. But not even. Sometimes we talk about whatever. But when it comes to girls interacting with guys, from my experience, It depends on who now. Of course, just preface, everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. But sometimes there's like this pressure to want to be received
Yeah.
and liked by this guy. So they put on like a different persona.
Yeah.
But I think it just comes down to like, are you comfortable with yourself? You know, are you comfortable to just be who you really are in front of everyone and
Yeah.
not be ashamed of what the other person will think? So,
I see that.
yeah.
And okay, so I kind of know the answer before I ask you, so I want you to speak for women in
Okay.
general. So this is not my question, but it's just kind of a response to what we're talking about.
Okay.
How do you feel about women dressing a certain way for attention versus the way they really want to dress?
Problematic.
Yeah.
Because I feel, I could talk for hours on this actually. I think it's sad when a woman wants to get attention based strictly on their body.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
So when we say body, not necessarily putting on a nice dress, but having your breasts out, having your cheeks showing
Right.
or whatever. Okay.
Yeah, like I think it's just a cry for attention. It always makes me wonder, like, where in the past, where was there a disconnect
Yeah.
in their past relationships that's now making them want to gain acceptance in this way?
Yeah.
You know, something with their mom, with their dad, siblings, something. Like what happened there? So I don't personally think women should feel the need to do that. I understand why, but I just think it's sad.
Yeah, I get if I'm at, I don't go out, so I wanted to name a spot that people go out.
I don't go
I
either.
don't know why. But if we were at a spot and I was single and I did see a woman so I do believe in embracing and loving yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying for a woman that's one size versus another size, you can't wear with the other. I'm not
Right.
saying that,
Right.
but I'm saying if you don't feel comfortable wearing it to a place where your parents are going to be, then if you're wearing that outfit, it doesn't catch my attention, honestly. So rewind. If I'm going to take you home to meet my parents, I want you to dress a certain way that my parents would be okay with
Yeah.
you coming into their household that
Yeah.
way. So I would say that as confirmation, it's not that men look for the most naked person in the room. We just look for what's attractive.
Yeah.
So attractive is necessary. Revealing your body parts.
Right.
But it's
Because attraction can also come in personality.
100%.
Like, it doesn't always have to be about what you're wearing. Like you can
100%.
be attracted to a guy's personality or a girl's personality versus their dress.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I love the aspect of creativity too. So like, can you rock a dress? Can you rock a shirt? Can you rock sports attire? Can you rock, I don't know what else women wear, but
Yeah.
like just the creativity of it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't have to wear things that you're not comfortable wearing just to grab somebody's attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I agree.
I just think that's y'all getting the backside of what men think when you talk about dress code. Was that your question or mine? That was yours.
That was mine.
That
That
was
was mine.
Okay.
I think.
Cool. So let's go to the
Okay,
very first one. All right. So some of these are going to be asked by men. Some of these are going to be asked by women. So if it's a woman question that needs to be answered, you got it.
Okay.
Vice versa. Okay. So first question that I have on the board, how do you feel about the woman making more money than you that is truly independent? So I will answer this, but I definitely want your response. I'm going to reread that. And I think it's a fantastic question. How do you feel about the woman making more money than you that is truly independent? Jen, you tell me which way to answer first, and I'm going to answer it. Because I'm going to say it the way I feel it, if that's okay.
Yeah,
Do you want me to answer it? I'm going to do both.
Okay.
But which one you want first? Chris, or just you think in general with men?
General and then Chris.
I think that men, for several reasons, can be uncomfortable with their woman making more. And part of it, I think, is the way that you're brought up as number
Yeah.
one. I was brought up with a father that was the provider. And my mother, she had jobs, but her main concern was the household,
Yeah.
the kids, making sure that was in order. And that empowered the father, my dad to do what he was doing, so it worked,
Right.
And then another system for somebody else, it might have been 50-50, and that worked. Some people grew up with just a father, some people grew up with just a mother.
Right.
So I believe depending on the household, I can see how men can be a little intimidated with a woman making more, but at the same time, I think it's about being evenly yoked, right? So there's nothing wrong with what I'm about to say, but if a billionaire woman and a guy that is in college that has no money, man, that's a hard dynamic to overcome.
Yeah.
Not saying it cannot, but I believe that it will create some challenges. So I think that's general. Me personally, I don't. Like, if you make more money than me, it's on and popping, right? So that's just the way that I feel. However, what I will say, the way that I was brought up, as I mentioned earlier, with my father, he was a provider, and he made sure his family was secure. He made sure that he gave all his children and his wife opportunity. And not saying my mom didn't help with stuff financially, but he took care of everything. The fruit doesn't fall too far from the tree, excuse me. So I feel the same way, right? So for me, I do want to provide for my wife and my family. I do want to make sure they're secure. Now, if Tina brings a certain amount of cash flow to the household, I would love to still provide because I'm not going to look to the right and try to say this without stepping on any toes. I would love to provide because the way that I was brought up, I don't necessarily want to cook. I don't want to clean.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry about schoolwork. I don't want to, for kids, I don't want to worry about PTO meetings.
Yeah.
I'm room to work, provide, secure.
Yeah.
Now, do I help with the kids? Yes.
Yeah.
I love dropping them off and picking them up from school. Do I play with them? Of course I do all that. Do I wash the dishes? Y'all thought I was about to say yes. I don't wash a dish. I cannot stand washing dishes. I'll wash my clothes and stuff like that. But what I'm getting to is I will help Tina because I love her. And it's not like she's under a doormat because honestly, again, this is just me. And I think we were just talking with Jason before camera rolled. There are a lot of ladies that are just killing the game.
Yeah.
So I respect women that are killing it. But to me, because of my mother, I honor women that take care of the household the way my mother did it. Because obviously that's my mom. So I put her superior like above everything.
Yeah.
So when I see another woman doing it, I'm like, that's top of the top. But I can see how some women didn't grow up that way. They're like, dude, that's underneath your feet. And I don't feel that way. So with Tina or anybody else, I love the fact that she honors taking care of the kids. She honors fueling me. But that works for our household.
Yeah.
But for your household, right, it may be you do have to work, I do have to work, you do have to bills, I do have to bills, and that works. But for me, personally, that's that. But I will say this.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Should I say this?
I don't know.
When you turn your seat like this, it's like,
It's like, what's about to happen?
when I met Tina, what was this, 10 years ago? When I met Tina, financially things were different than it is now, right? So I just have swagger that I have now. I just had it then, right? So when I met Tina, I don't know who made more.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Interesting.
I don't know who made more. We might have made around the same. I would have to ask her what she thought I had in my bank account. Because, you know, when you start dating, you're not like, hey, here's what I have.
Right.
But what I will say, whether I made a little more or maybe she made more than me, I know for a fact that she made what she was making more years prior to me.
Yeah.
Like if I did get her that year,
Yeah.
she got me definitely the last 4 years before that.
Yeah.
So, but I think the attraction of her, and this is a question you have to answer. I think the attraction of her was Chris is not where he's at for the rest of his life. He has inspiration. I see his vision. I want to support him getting there. And without her, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So again, that didn't intimidate me if she did make more, but that's me.
Interesting.
What's your response? I'm curious to hear what you say.
So, kind of the same, where the way I grew up, it was, I feel like I've had the opportunity to see a few different ways.
Okay.
So my biological parents, they were both hardworking, They're from Nigeria.
Okay.
They came here to the States, I think, when they were 18 or 19, and they started college. So they got into working. So they are used to just like having to work
Grinding it out.
super hard because they were somewhat disadvantaged when they came into this country. They didn't know anything. So they both had pretty good jobs. My mom was a nurse practitioner. My dad was a professor. So they both brought in
Yeah.
a significant amount of money. I mean, granted, there were a lot of kids. It was like 5 of us. So
It was 7.
right, money was kind of thin, but
Yeah.
they had, they both brought in money.
Yeah.
I don't know their exact financial situation, like how much, X amount they brought in, but when it came to like taking care of the household, my mom, she was more into the cleaning. It's kind of funny because I feel like she was both. Like she paid the bills and she also was cleaning. My dad more so did the bills and just made sure that the house. It's like they did both. And there were so many of us kids.
Did it work for them?
It worked. Yeah, it worked. And there's so many of us kids that we clean the house. It was like wake up Saturday
Right.
morning and get some chores
Oh,
done.
that's
So.
the worst, yeah.
And then my spiritual family, who I met like 10 years ago, he's a pastor and she's a stay-at-home mom. So seeing how they've structured their life has been interesting because, of course, he brings in the money. She's not working in an actual building. She works at home, raising the kids. And I think it's been a beautiful and interesting dynamic because I've never seen that growing up, and
Yeah.
I didn't think something like that could work. So I'm just like, so he just brings in the money and you just watch the kids? Like that doesn't seem fair.
Yeah.
But learning more about it and seeing that they're both bringing value in, and it works for them, and it works for the kids. It is meaningful.
Yeah.
So I think for me, like I wouldn't. If I made more than my husband, which I'm not married, just a future husband.
Yeah.
my future husband. I want to say that I would be, oh yeah, that's fine. But just because of how I've been brought up, it would feel
tough.
weird. I'll be honest. It would feel kind of like, oh, okay, so I make more money than you. But I think it will take communication.
Yeah,
And I think,
100%.
yeah, 100%. And I think it will have to also be, I think it will have to take some just digging and some looking at my own self and him looking at his own self, because I feel like if you're tying your worth to how much you bring in or what you bring to the table, then that's a problem in and of itself. So it's less about does it work, it's just about wait, something there is not balanced,
And stats show that a lot of marriages divorce because of financial reasons. And I think life is going to happen, dude. Like, it's just going to happen. But I think that preparing mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually, knowing that life's going to happen and you have a certain foundation moving forward, that's when you take those punches a little bit different. So for Tina and I, if I can go back in time, I would probably have done more premarital counseling. Like we did one session. It was like, he was like, "Oh, y'all good." It was like, I wanted to talk about having the dog staying in the house and not staying in the house. Like, so we had a dog at the time, and Tina wanted him to stay in. I didn't want him to stay in. So that was our biggest argument, right? But now, just from a standpoint of life that have taken place in our first 7 years of marriage, we've never bumped heads when it came to money of like, you pay for this and pay for that. But when it came to responsibility, we did.
Yeah.
So I tried it's funny that we're talking about this right now on camera. So I don't know if Venus called Tina or whatever, but thanks for the question, V. I think it's an incredible question. I've tried the half thing, and it didn't.
What's the half thing?
Like, you pay half, I pay half. You clean it this day, I do it this day. And then I'm going to get back to a point to what I believe in my roots. So when I don't do what what Tina feel like I should do, she's like, hey, bro, like, your girl bringing in some paper, like, get to work. And I'm like, hold on, like, this just ain't about to happen to me right now. But for our household, communication was everything.
Yeah.
So one day she just sat down and she was like, look, I see it. Let's adjust. And it was as simple as that.
Yeah.
And the thing I will say that Chris had to do a better job of, you can't have an expectation of a woman to do what you desire and you not give her credit when credit is due. And I know that that's something I can do a better job of. It's like taking a woman out to eat and you take her out every single time and she never say thank you, or as soon as you get the bill, you hand it over. Like at some point, even though the guy might not let you pay for it, it's cool to be like, I'll take care of it. And then he'd be like, oh, boo, I got it. Like that just makes him feel a certain way. Or when you actually open the door and you say, thank you.
Yeah.
And it's the same way, like when I walked in the closet this morning, like clothes on point. I don't even know how to you color code it, but it was done, right? And I was just like, man, thank you. And she looked at me like, oh. So for me to do that, she's probably gonna do it again, right? And then women may wonder, why will Chris run through a brick wall for his woman? It's because of those things.
Yeah.
But communication. If we wouldn't have talked about that, we wouldn't have created that system, and then eventually that could have created division.
Yeah.
So
No, that's real.
that's real. Man,
That
was all right. Let's go to the next one.
That's a great
Unless
question.
you had anything else to say.
No, that's
You
good. Yeah.
All right. Here's another one. This one's for the ladies.
Okay.
Would you date a man that still stays home with his parents? That is such a good question.
That is a good question. Would I date a man that still stays home with his parents? Whew.
That's a good question.
I would have to say it depends on the situation. Like, why is he home with his parents?
Okay.
Like,
fair.
is he home with his parents because he's taking care of them? Then yeah, we could work through that. Is he staying home because he just don't want to get a job and he don't want to pay for nothing? Then like, absolutely not. It's beyond
Right.
you staying with your parents. It's just like you're lazy.
Right.
I don't care where you live. You're just lazy.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't think I couldn't give like a blanket
Yeah.
yes or no.
Okay, let's play a game.
Okay.
35. He's 35.
Okay.
6'2".
Okay.
200 pounds.
Okay.
Muscular.
Does he work out?
He works out. He doesn't have a job,
Okay.
but he's in school.
Okay.
He lives with his parents.
Ooh. Yeah, that's
That's
a
tough.
good scenario. I wouldn't have an issue with that. I would have questions because
Which is fair.
here's the thing. I think that sometimes when we talk about finances, like from a woman's standpoint of how much they want the man to make, I feel like sometimes it's looked at as a woman being shallow or being materialistic. But let's just talk reality. Like, if I'm looking to join my life with somebody else and you are not in a position to provide, I don't want to link up with that because that's putting me in a compromising position.
Yeah.
So if he's in school and he's working towards something,
Yeah.
I can get behind that,
Yeah.
and if he's still living at home because he wants to save money, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I just need to know where you're going and what
Yeah.
you're doing,
Yeah.
not just like, oh, I'm just taking a few classes here and there and just trying to figure it out. I'm just like, oh, you figure that out. I'm gonna be over here.
Yeah, yeah.
But it just depends on the person and what they got going on.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that our men are able to hear that, because what's interesting about hearing your perspective, Jen, I did stay at my parents' home for a minute, right? But it was encouraged by my parents. So my parents had two rules getting out of high school: go to college or get a job. If you do one or the other, you still can stay there.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and my parents, so my dad, I think he said this on the podcast when I had him on, one of the things he wanted to break as a generation curse was the kid don't have to take care of the parent financially. And he felt like as he stayed at home, once he started making money, that he would make money as a teenager and have to give it to the household.
Yeah.
So for us, like, it was times where we tried to get jobs and he was like, nah. And then if you do, you keep your money. So
Wow.
I think it was encouraged for us while we were at school or working that as long as we stay there and we're doing something to progress our future, they were good with it.
Right.
But if we sitting at home playing PlayStation
Yeah,
and not
like-
doing nothing, we got to get out.
Right.
But the time I stayed home, I was just saving. Like, so my first 3 years of Mean Green, I stayed at home with mom and daddy. What? I'm in the upper room, right? But
Yeah.
I'm saying this as humble as possible. When I say what I'm about to say, when I proposed to Tina, I didn't propose in debt. I paid cash for that ring.
Yeah.
Right? When we bought our house, I didn't buy the house cash, but make that clear. But the down payment, I paid cash. The honeymoon, like everything, the paying for the wedding, I never went in debt over it.
That's cool.
Because of the opportunity my parents gave me.
Yeah.
So I will say, fellas, if you're at home, it's cool. But like Jen said,
Yeah.
you got to have some strategy into what you're doing. And then at the same time, ladies, know that you can have a diamond in the rough a little bit. Maybe you might buy a cat. No, I'm just kidding. But I think, though, to give Tina credit, actually, when I met Tina, I was dating her when she lived in Seattle, and I stayed home. But by the time she came to Houston, I got my own spot. But I think even with Tina being here in Houston, I think she still would have backed me because, like you said, I wasn't on the joysticks,
Yeah.
playing the blame game.
Right.
I had a plan, and I believe she believed in it.
That makes sense. And I also feel like there's kind of a stigma about people who live at home with their parents. And I have not seen that to be something that is a bad thing or a negative thing. And I guess maybe because of how I was brought up too, like my parents never communicated that you need to leave the house after you're 18 or, whatever the case may be. It was, and it could be culture, honestly, because in Nigeria, everyone lives in the same house for years. That's just kind of generations. It's just
really?
a thing, yeah. So I guess that's probably why they
cool.
didn't tell that to us. Like I never felt like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So I stayed at home until I was 27, until I moved out here to Houston. But even then I moved in with my spiritual family. So it wasn't like I was out on my own. Now I'm on my own now, but
I think culture teaches that, though.
Yeah.
Society teaches us that we need to be married by a certain day, have kids by a certain time. And I think, again, I brag on my parents all the time. Man, I just don't know where I would be without them allowing me to do the things that I've done.
Right.
And I think it cultured my mindset. So it puts me in a position to help my boys further their life, not just off of what they were able to do to me, but what can I add on? I think that's what legacy's about. But I will say this to my fellas at the same time. You can't have a plan at the crib, right? You can you can have the idea, but you can't have an expectation from a woman and you bringing her to the crib and first of all, I believe marriage first, but you can't be treating a woman different because she don't want to be in your parents' house.
Yeah.
Like, you got to have some type of reality too at the same time. So I think that's a really good, unique question.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
That was
and
a good
unique.
question.
Would I date a woman that stay home?
I was going to flip it.
I think I would.
Yeah. And I think
I
it's
would.
because I think it's
I
almost
would.
easier, like for a guy to feel that way. Or I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like if a woman stays out, is she still at home and she's like, I don't know, 32, and the guy's dating her.
Yeah.
Because of just the typical roles.
That's what I was gonna say.
He's the provider,
Let's
he
go back to
wants to
that.
pursue her. It's like, oh, you live at home with your parents? That's cool. When we get together, if we get married, I'll provide for you, so you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So I think it can be easier for a guy
It
to
is.
like.
And then part of it, like you said it, hammer on the nail. Society, culture, decades, and this might be the right way, it might not be the right way, but what we've learned is that we, chase the lady and we knock on the door.
Yeah.
We ask her father, is
Yeah.
it okay for her to go out on a date or go
Yeah.
study? Where am I pen? Whatever it was back in the day, right? So I think it is a little bit easier, but for me as a guy, I'm not dating a woman to see if she can take care of me.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm not looking for, man, how big her crib is.
Yeah.
Like, what does real estate game look like? I'm not looking at that because
Yeah.
I don't want her real estate. I want my rib. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that puts us in a position to do it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So I think it's an incredible question.
Yeah.
Cool?
Yeah.
Ooh, y'all all right with these questions?
Good question.
All right. Pause before I go to the next one.
Okay.
You got anything? Or
No,
you
that was
good?
my question.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna flip it.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next person.
Okay.
Boom. Oh, this is a good one. Does faithfulness still exist? Is dating as hard for y'all as it is for us? This is a woman asking.
It's dating is okay.
So,
That is a
does
good question.
faithfulness still exist? Yeah. Jared, let me explain, okay? The reason why I believe it still exists because I think it goes back to communication of what you really want, right? If a dude or a lady, because ladies do the same, if a dude or a lady don't want to be in just a one-person relationship, I think that's where it messes up because the guy needs to tell, hey, Jen, look, I feel you, but right now I don't want to be tied up into one relationship.
Yeah.
But if a dude, I believe there are dudes out there that don't want to be with a group of women and he's good.
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example. I shouldn't. Milton
Okay.
Green. Chris Green. We brothers. He looks younger than me and he's not. He's 7 years older than me. And people think we look alike here and there. If I was single, I want to date women. I want to date women. That's just how I was. Milton, he just give me Liz, I'm good.
Yeah.
And he don't want to know. So I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
But I also believe that ladies, you gotta kind of believe in yourself and say what it is and what you're gonna accept and not gonna accept. Tina, to this day, I will tell it to can't tell it no more. I remember she lived in Seattle. I was at the 24-hour fitness, like 11 o'clock at night, Jan. I'm working out. She called me out the blue because Seattle, it's later.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what's she still doing up,
Yeah.
you know? She was like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about something. I was like, well, I'm going to give you a call. I'm working out. She's like, no, this is important. I'm like, oh. It's like the first time she's telling it's important. She's like, hey, I don't know if you're messing with other women or not, but if you're going to continue to mess with me, you're not messing with no other women. So do you want to continue to mess with me or do you want to deal with other women?
I knew I liked you.
I was like, I had to respect it so much though. And then with my faith, it was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Right? I got off the phone. I was like, dang, she checked me. Like,
Yeah.
and it wasn't about what I was or wasn't doing. I thought it was so honestly attractive that she held herself on the highest platform. She wasn't worried about my past. She wasn't even, honestly, I don't know if she was worrying about current. She was just like, look, moving forward, I'm intrigued with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I think, ladies, if I can, it's a bold move though. Like, I'm not gonna say that's easy.
Yeah.
But hold yourself to a certain status and ask the dude, like, look, me or them, what do
Yeah.
you want? And you
Yeah.
gotta live with the reaction now.
Yeah.
If he says that, hey, I'm not there yet, because there are times where men are not there yet. If you'd ask, if she would have did the 22 to 24, 25, 26-year-old Chris that way, I probably would have been like, well, let me call you back.
Yeah.
Right? But you got to live with that reaction.
Yeah.
But I think that I think faithfulness do exist. I believe in it at least, and I think it also comes with a sense of maturity.
Yeah.
Men don't always mature as fast as women. So the 25-year-old Chris versus the 25-year-old Tina, we might not mentally be there together.
Right.
And but does it exist? Yes. Is it out there? Yes. Is it easy? Hell no. A guy told us, he said, meeting your spouse is a miracle. That's what he told us in our premarital counseling. He said, meeting each other, this is a miracle that God is providing. If every person I would have met before would have worked out, then the miracle never takes place. So I get it. We're supposed to have that white picket fence. We're supposed to have 2 kids by the time we're 28, whatever life has told us. But I think with the way that people are keeping up with eating correctly and being more active, you're seeing women now having babies 44, 48, 52 years old because we're healthier people. So ladies, don't put yourself in a clock that society has an expectation of you. It's a miracle. So for him to pursue you and find you, that's a miracle.
I agree.
That's a miracle.
Yeah.
Faithfulness.
Oh. I really like this question.
It's a good question.
It really is. 'Cause
Tika. Shout out to Tika. She trains
Oh,
with us. Tika.
thanks, Tika. I have so many thoughts. Let me reel it back. So, does faithfulness exist? As a woman, I feel like yes, there are faithful guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
I would be narrow-minded to just say like, oh no, all guys are dogs.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you say there are more unfaithful guys that come across than faithful?
Yeah.
I agree.
So
I agree.
so it almost feels like, are there any good guys left? And I talk about this with some of my friends because some of us, my friends, they're single, and popular now like dating apps.
Yeah.
Which I think has
That was a question.
been problematic because I feel like with dating apps, it's normal to just talk to multiple girls at the same time, and it just
I didn't think about that.
yeah, and it's just like, oh, match, having 5 conversations. So actually, the same thing Tina did, the same thing I did. There's a guy who I matched with on a dating app, and we were talking, no red flags. We're talking for a few weeks, and I was like, okay, so I want to just check in with you, see how the relationship is going. What do you think? He's like, yeah, I think we're progressing well. I enjoy our conversations. Like, okay, so are you still talking to other girls? And he was like, yes, I am. I was like, okay, but if you want to move forward with me, I don't want that to continue to happen.
Yeah.
He wasn't down for that. So I'm out,
Yeah.
and I think it's just about like what you're saying, holding yourself to a standard and just knowing what you deserve.
Yes, sir.
So
I got a question for you with that.
okay.
So that was a couple weeks. What if you ran into this same guy 3 years from now? And then, I don't know why I'm on Grace. Can somebody take me to Grace's?
I don't even know what Grace's
You
is.
gotta go. She's from Atlanta.
From Atlanta,
So
so.
that's my favorite restaurant here. But you ran into him at Grace's, and then, hey, good to see you, blah, blah, blah. And then he pursue you again. Like, is he an automatic cutoff? What if he changes his mind from 3 years to
Yeah.
say, hey, I just wasn't there?
I wouldn't cut him off. It's just, if he was now available and he was willing to just pursue one woman at a time, cool. I think that mentality comes, it's like this scarcity mentality. It's like, all right, I have to get everything now and just hold on to it and see what sticks. When it's just like, if you just commit to one thing and it doesn't work out, and then you go on to the next one. At least that's how I operate. Like I personally cannot date multiple men at the same time because you're like opening yourself up, having these conversations.
It
It's
seems
like,
fatiguing.
yeah, it's emotionally and mentally exhausting. So I don't want to do that. So it feels like sometimes there are more unfaithful men than there are faithful. Because I feel like if you find a faithful guy, you probably be with them. So you stop looking. But I'm sure they're out there.
I think too, pain from your past makes you feel a certain way too.
Exactly.
So like
100%.
Like I had an experience where someone wasn't as faithful as they should have been to me. So you in another state and you hear something different, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it hits you in a way when you want to respond. You got to be careful because sometimes we want to respond the way you feel towards every person that comes forth. So again, I could have took that approach when I met Tina, and what I would have missed out on could have been something very great, obviously. But I think the past has to do one or two things. It has to either teach you to make the right decision or ask the right questions moving forward.
Yeah.
Or two, don't do the same thing you did the last time.
Right.
And I think if you can do those two things in the dating world, and I've been out the game for a long, I don't even know how to do the app thing, right?
It's rough.
I think of Instagram, right? If we put a post up on our business page for Mean Green and say, $48 to come try us out for 16 sessions in the month of September. It is so fatiguing. Like, hey, can't wait to see you. Here's the link. I could not imagine doing that with different personalities.
Yeah.
But it brings up something kind of interesting to say as I relate this to business.
Okay.
We're taught sometimes don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking from a man perspective, not Chris. Yeah, I caught that. I think sometimes if you're conditioned to do one thing one way, you're conditioned to do things multiple ways. I'm curious if not just men and women feel that same way. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You have to, kind of like sports with your kids, let them play soccer, let them play basketball, let them play football, and you're brought up that way. So I wonder, when it comes to a time to date, do you have that same mentality?
Yeah. You know, I've heard that a lot before when it comes to dating, and I think it's still problematic, because I can understand why someone may say that, because it's like, all right, you want to get like multiple streams of income or like, you know, multiple things coming in. But when it comes to dating, this is just my perspective. I believe that God will bring to me who is meant to be for me. So if I'm going to be
Preach it,
pursuing
girl.
these multiple guys, that's showing a lack of trust that God will bring to me who's supposed to be for me.
She's trying to preach to y'all. Y'all better listen.
So if I'm
That's real,
talking
Jen.
to guy A, B, and C, and D, and I'm just trying to see what sticks, that puts, like, now I'm operating out of fear versus like trust. So I don't think it's even helpful in that sense. It just, to me, it just shows a lack of trust.
Yeah. At some point, you got to take a faith jump.
Exactly.
You know, Tina, will you marry me? Man, that was a faith jump, right?
Yeah.
Grand Lux, I was so lame. Tina, will you be my girlfriend? I actually asked her that, right?
Yeah.
So, like, at some point, you do have to take a leap of faith, and I think part of it is the response. Are you going to hear what you want in
Exactly.
return? But that's just, that's life.
Yeah.
I also would like to add, and then we can move on, because this is that
Yeah.
great question.
This is a good question.
I'm just thinking back to the younger Chris, right? And my peers that I grew up with. It wasn't necessarily trying to date multiple women to see how far you can go. I just wasn't at a place where I wanted to be married at a certain age and wasn't thinking that way.
Yeah.
So even with Tina, I've said her name at least 27 times in this podcast.
It's the greatest thing.
When I met Tina, 10 out of 10, I was not looking for a wife.
Interesting.
No, Seattle? Long distance?
Yeah.
What you talking about, girl? I told her that. I didn't want a long distance. I think I told her that. I hope I did. But I wasn't looking for a wife. I think I was getting out of a relationship. And I was looking at some relationships. But at that point, I was at a stage in my life where I wanted to be single. I have never really been single at that point. Like, I was still pretty young.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I just want to be single. I'm about to get my own crib. Like, what's up? I finally made some money.
Yeah.
Like, let me be single. But I truly believe the difference from her was the wife attracted me. Not the girl. Not the hot girl, right? I wasn't, I hang with the hot girl. We'll have fun. We can hang out. But marriage, it wasn't the attraction.
Right.
So when I saw something different in her, that's a woman that can raise kids.
Yeah.
Right? That's the woman that can run the house. That's going to be the woman when I can't stand, she'll pick me up. It wasn't the others.
Right.
So even though I wasn't looking for marriage, that miracle took place because now I found it favor.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it. So
Interesting.
dating's tough, man. That's all I can say. Like, dating's tough, man. But I think my conclusion of this is believe in yourself, say how you feel, and communicate about it.
Absolutely.
Don't scare nobody at the same time. Like, the day you meet a guy, Jen, if you walk out the gym today and see somebody in the parking lot and you say, ooh, hey, I like you. What's your plans? You talking to somebody else?
Right. It's like, okay.
The first minute of the conversation
Yeah.
might not be the best time to kind of dig
Yeah.
in.
Get to
But, communicate and just express how you feel.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be repetitive of it. You don't have to call them, text them the next day, call
Right.
them, text them, tell them the same thing. But truthfully, man, a man would tell you how he feel by his action and if you ask the question.
Yeah.
If you never ask the question, he gonna be like, she ain't asking, she must not mad. So
She must not care, yeah.
be encouraged to
Yeah.
be you is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So hopefully that
100%.
helps.
Yeah.
Cool. You got anything else you want to move
No,
forward?
yeah.
With these questions?
That was
dog?
good. I like that. That was Tika.
That was
Nice.
Tika, my
Thanks,
girl
Tika.
T. That's my sus. All right, next question I have is, How has dating changed for them as seems to be transitioned to online apps? It is easier to date for them now than maybe 5 or 10 years ago.
Oh, did someone who's older ask that question?
I'm not sure.
You're saying it's easier now than before?
She is my age, between probably my age and Milton age, I'm
Okay.
guessing.
You know what's funny though? Because I feel like the age I am, I'm 31. I don't know how old I'm 31.
Think about it.
Right. I was born June 3rd, 1990. Do the math.
90? You're a 90,
I'm
baby?
a 90s baby. So like we didn't grow up with like apps, social media, but now it's so like normal. So it's like we got the best of both worlds. So I feel like when I was younger, of course, like in high school, maybe halfway through college, there was no such thing as like dating apps the way it is now. I mean, they had like the eHarmony, the stuff
Black
like
Planet?
that. Yeah.
Did you remember that? Yeah, I don't even know if you're old enough to remember it.
I remember
Okay,
Black
okay.
Planet. I didn't have one, but I remember it. But we didn't have those things. So I feel like I've gotten to see like both ways of how dating has been done. And now I'm kind of, I almost feel like, what would I say is easier? Because I think it's easier because it's convenient, like to have the dating apps now. You get to see multiple guys at one time who I probably would never see. You know, like I would never cross paths with you because maybe you live in, an hour away or something. So in that way, it's convenient. But it's also tricky because now you're just interacting via messaging.
That's tough.
So many things get lost with this texting, and then even phone calls can be hard. You want to see their body language. You want to like see how they interact with your friends. So I don't know which one's easier.
I don't know. I think, so I was, obviously, by the time dating apps came out, I was out the game, I think. So the way that Tina and I had watched this incredible movie, one of my favorite movies, comedy movie, Wedding Crashers.
Wedding Crashers.
All right, have you seen that? Oh, you
Okay,
gotta watch
I'm
it.
the last person
You
to ask
gotta
about
watch
movies.
it.
I'm not a movie person.
Vaughn, what's his name, first name? You know what? Something Vaughn.
I would say Vin Diesel, but you said fine.
So, two guys, super funny.
Okay.
The theme of the movie is basically they crash wedding and meet women, and they got it down to a T, right?
Okay.
I watched the movie, I was like, that's an incredible idea.
Yeah.
So, my best friend's getting married, I was like, wedding number one, here we go. And that's actually where I met Tina, so my career was really short career.
That's cute.
I'm not mad about it, but it was short.
Yeah.
But I was getting to a point with this. Where was I going with this?
Wedding Crashers.
Oh, dating. So it was actually I had like 3 chicks that wanted to holler at me at the wedding. So I did what you do at that time. This is what 2000 and maybe 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there. Probably 2010. I got straight on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right, like with my bad grammar I got on there. Right. And Tina still has a message to this day. And I remember that's the way we communicated.
Yeah.
I didn't get her number because I'm really shy to approach women. So I don't know if I would have got her number because a best friend, my girl Brittany, you trained her at 9 or 6 in the morning.
Okay.
She was like, hey,
way.
one of my best friends, you gotta.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. So I guess instead of her giving me the Facebook profile, she probably would have gave me her number potentially. But I think, man, I'm gonna go with the way that it used to be. Honestly,
easier?
I think because from a kid, we were taught to chase the woman, right? Whether I was good at it or not, or shy or not, we would get dropped off at Six Flags Astroworld when we had one. So the theme then was, how many numbers you gonna get, bro? So at that time, even to go approach a woman to get a number, I used to cheat, guys. I used to actually write numbers on a sheet of paper. And I used to act like the girl gave me the number. My friends wasn't smart enough to notice that the handwriting was the same on all of them. But we won't go there. But even the times that I did, I would go and meet her and communicate with her. I would see her smile. She would see my reaction. So when I did go home and call her at 7th grade, whatever age, we had some type of vibe.
Yeah.
Because you can meet somebody and be like, no, I know right now. That ain't, no, I don't want nothing to do with them. But sometimes you will. So I think that part was easier. Right now, I can't imagine dating someone via Messenger and I don't get that experience.
Yeah.
So I would say back in the day, I think to connect with someone for me would have been easier. But right now, Y'all see me a lot on social media now, but if I wasn't who I was in the fitness industry space, I probably wouldn't be on social media that much.
Yeah.
So I don't see me on an app.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think it's easier back in the day.
Yeah.
I think it's easier.
I see the pros and cons to both.
I would suck right now dating.
It's a wild world when it comes to the dating apps.
I would suck.
Yeah.
I would suck. Because I don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
I think that's tough for me because if
Yeah.
I was to date, like my dad, he teaches people in the household, like, if you want to meet such and such, get dressed a certain way and go to the mall, buy something. And if they don't see you, take it back the next day. Just get out there. Like, that's the way he elaborates, right?
Yeah.
But I just cannot imagine right now forcing myself to go places that I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I like to be at the gym. I like to watch sports, right? So I go to sporting events. So if I'm not going to sporting events, if she is not at sporting events, if she's not at the gym,
Yeah, it's like, where do you
meet
him?
them?
Yeah.
I go to a really small church. Like,
Exactly.
you know, it's kind of
right.
tough.
Which is
so-
why it's convenient to have the apps, because you can see. I'm the same way. I'm just like, I go to work,
Yeah.
I go to the grocery store, I go to church, and I
That's
go
it.
home. Yeah.
That's it. So I got a question since you've been on the app.
Okay.
What happened if the person don't look the way they look on the picture?
Ooh.
You watch Friday before the movie?
Again, another movie reference.
You haven't watched Friday?
I haven't watched
Ooh,
Friday.
I have a movie night.
I've not seen
Chris
Friday.
Tucker, Ice Cube. Yeah, we're gonna she from the ATL. She don't watch West Coast movies. That's what
I
it
haven't-
is. Let's say
I
that.
haven't seen it.
But yeah, what happens if you meet up with somebody at Starbucks and you're like, hey, yeah, I'm looking for Jennifer, and she's like, I'm Jennifer. I'm like,
Yeah, thankfully that has never happened to me.
Okay.
But there was one time on the app that this guy did like openly confess. It was like, hey, so I don't look how I look like in my pictures. Those are from a few years ago. I'm a little bit overweight now.
oh, okay. That's respect.
Yeah, and not even just overweight. He looked totally different. So that was weird.
Really?
I was like, why would you make your profile with those pictures? That's not
updated.
Yeah, I was like
Updated
updating.
something.
Like you obviously have a current picture, put it on your profile.
Yeah.
Like that's me. That's
tough.
manipulative. So,
I don't know if I can.
Yeah,
That's tough.
it's wild. And that hasn't happened a lot, and people who I know it hasn't happened either. I don't think it's as common. I want to say because it is so normal. Like no, people aren't there trying to like they aren't trying to catfish.
Yeah.
I feel like so.
That's tough.
Yeah.
After hearing what you just said and putting myself in a single man's shoes in what I do, I can see people that I train, people that go to our church, my friend, I can see them kind of like what Brittany did, wanting to hook me up. I think
I think that's the best way.
maybe voice your opinion sometimes to your peers. Like, man, look, you got any single friends? You know what I mean? Because I think at that moment, maybe that's a good question I asked Tina when I get home. Did you tell Britt you were looking for a dude?
That would be a good question.
You know,
Yeah.
or did Britt have y'all had conversations about your past relationship? Like, I'm curious. See, my boy LB, he knew I wasn't looking,
Yeah.
so he wasn't trying to hook me up. No, I'm just kidding. But that's an interesting question. But I think
Yeah.
for me, to answer your question, I think for me back in the day, it's easier just because I can initially get that connection and see if that's a good vibe for me or
Yeah.
not. So, we'll see.
Interesting. Yeah.
Cool. You ready for the next one? I
Yeah.
think there's only one or two left, and
Okay.
then we'll get out of here. Do you tend to date women your own age or younger than you? Tina's younger than me. About 2 years.
Okay.
I have no preference though.
Yeah. I don't think like with what you were saying earlier, you said 25-year-old you is different than 25-year-old Tina. There's a maturity that comes. So would I date a younger guy? It would more so depend on his maturity level. Like if he was like a few years younger, but he, you know, had a way about him, he was like intelligent. Yeah, we can make it work. But 22-year-old guys, it's different. You know, it's just different.
An age wouldn't stop you.
An age wouldn't stop
Okay.
me. I would just press in and ask some questions.
Yeah. You
Like,
know what? I'm a little older than you. I'm 37. I'm turning 37 in 2 weeks. So I'm not claiming that yet. I'm 36. I have to remember sometimes I'm 36. I am not 24 no more. So when you 24, 25, 26, like, you're like, once she graduates, like, if a woman graduates 22, you 24, 25, it's still.
Yeah.
I'm not dating no chick that's 22 right now.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, like.
Yeah,
that's,
it's
so
different.
I am 36. I'll probably say a woman as young as 30 for me would probably be. She had to really blow me away if she's younger than that, but I would say at least 30, and then older than me, I would date an older woman.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm 36. 40? 40? I can do a 40. I can do a 40.
Yeah.
But
I feel like you almost get to a certain age where it's like you're almost just like in the same stage of life. So it's like if you're 30,
Yeah.
I don't know, in your 30s and you want to date someone who's like 40, it's almost like, okay,
yeah.
though it's 10 years, it's different from being 20 and 30.
Yeah.
That's the age gap I don't think
Yeah.
anyone should play around with.
That's a little.
It's a little different. So,
But you know, society again. If you go back in the day, the male typically was older than
Yeah.
the female. So, and I can understand for some reasons, right? Because the
Yeah.
maturity levels. But yeah, I have no ifs, ands, or buts. Even if it was I don't have a preference. I don't even know if I knew how old Tina was. Not in a weird way. It wasn't like I knew she was under 18 or something
Yeah.
weird. But I didn't ask, and it didn't affect me. If Tina would have been 3 years older than me, I wouldn't have said no or yay. But what I will say with age, I think that communication still plays a big role
yeah.
because you don't want to limit someone because of their age.
Right.
Right? So if I was to date a younger woman or Tina, and I treated her a certain way because she was younger than me,
Yeah,
like
that's-
that doesn't. What does that even? Why are you dating?
Right.
You know. So I would say that, but I can see the question also looking from a perspective of what's the gap.
Yeah.
So if I had a
We'll be
gap,
working with you.
I can go younger than older. But I'm a guy.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, he's a guy. Yeah, for a girl, yeah, it's probably more so older versus
Younger.
younger.
So I don't want to get punched, but I think that was a dope question.
Yeah. Good
All right,
question.
man, Jen, I've really enjoyed you, friend.
Yes.
Let me double check and make sure we've answered everything. Meanwhile, if I didn't, or while I'm processing these questions, if there's something that you had that I didn't answer, we will be.
No.
I think that's it. I think we
Yeah.
answered everything. Boom, boom, boom. And guys, if I didn't answer something because I'm getting to that age where I'm starting to look at my phone like
Oh my
this,
goodness.
let me know and I apologize. But I think I did get everything.
Yeah.
Jared, shout out to Mr. Garcia Production out here working the cameras for us. Give me a question for the ladies, man.
Oh,
What's
okay.
something you want to ask the ladies? We'll end with your question.
Wow. Put him on, the
spot.
spot.
It's easier when you're on the spot when you're not on the camera, though.
I guess so, yeah, it's true. Put him on the spot.
How honest is too honest if you date somebody?
Ooh, he trying to drop the mic on y'all. All right, so I'm going to repeat the question
Okay.
because he don't have a mic on.
Yeah.
But how honest, dang, I hope I don't mess it up. How honest is too honest? That's it right?
How honest is too honest when you're dating someone?
I just said this on a podcast a while ago. Jody, my Jody, but you ain't watch Baby Boy.
No, I didn't. I have not seen that. How honest is too honest? You know, I feel like the more honest, the better, because you get a better assessment of the person. Like, now I think, I think there are levels and times when you should share and, you know, don't overshare too soon.
Yeah.
But I think there are certain things that, yes, you should open up and talk about
Yeah.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But it also depends on the two individuals. Like,
I just thought about something so random. I'm sorry.
like if the two individuals, if they're in the same stage of life and they're looking for the same thing, hopefully they're willing to be open about the things that are important. You know, like just anything. So I don't think you can be too honest. I think that should be I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like, honesty. Like, let me know.
That's a
Like,
real question.
yeah.
Because from a dude, I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, I don't know if I want to ask you that. Just because,
Yeah.
especially from a dating perspective, your goal in dating is to be transparent,
Yeah.
but the overall goal, especially if you're looking to progress in that relationship, is to win them over. So I have this thing, I have 3 things that I have insecurities about, and now there's only 2 of them. Number 1 that I don't have no more, I had a baby tooth right here. And I was 20, I didn't get it removed until I think I was 32, 33. I had a baby tooth there.
Wow.
So like, I think one of the first things I probably said to Tina was like, hey, look, it's a baby tooth right here, right?
Look at it.
Right. So, and then the second thing, my palms sweat. So Faye always get on me about being ashy. But whenever I put lotion on, if I shake somebody's hands, my hands get really, really moist.
Interesting.
So if I don't put lotion on, they might be a little dry, but at least they're not sweaty.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is it a third thing? 1, 2. Seems like, my ears. I have little bitty ears, right?
Oh.
Really, really small ears. Like even at church, I can't even put like the stuff on to
Yeah.
speak to everybody. But right when I meet somebody, like it might have been too straightforward, but when I meet Tina, hey, I got really small ears.
Yeah.
I got a baby too. So like I can see how sometimes, with those type of things,
Yeah.
I think it's okay to
Yeah.
be that honest, but then there are some things that it's like, as a dude, I'm making this up. I do not do this. I do not do this. But when I just started laughing a while ago, this is the thought I thought of. If I meet a woman, if I met Tina, and on the 3rd date I say, hey, I always fart under the covers. Like,
Yeah, it's like,
even if you do, he laughing at
Yeah.
me. That's too honest,
yeah,
dog.
it's not necessary. Like, that's not necessary to the progression of the
Right.
relationship.
Right, like, all right, bro, like,
Okay.
sis, you're trying to tell me that, but I was jokingly saying that, but the quote in Baby Boy I had brought up in the last podcast, Jody said to his girlfriend, they make fun of me when I say this, because I said this the other day. I say the word hoes, and I was like, hey, I'm about to cuss, and he was like, that's not even a cuss word, but he said, I lied to you because I care about your feelings, and I don't lie to those hoes because I don't care about their feelings.
Yeah.
So it was rough on his delivery, but as a guy, there are times where you don't want to necessarily be honest because you know it may hurt them.
Yeah.
But honestly, when you're truthful and upfront, even though it may hurt them, that's how you
Yeah.
grow and progress. But Jared,
Good question.
he had wrote that down. He been waiting on
He
us
was
to
ready.
ask
He's
him.
like, hope they ask me. Hope they ask
He
me.
was like, I don't know. Actually,
Put on my list. Let's prepare for this.
no, other than that, man, I'm glad we were able to have this dialogue where we
Yeah.
can just communicate. I usually do this at the beginning of the podcast. You got to smile. What happened? What you laughing about? Oh, Jason? Oh, he ran in the camera? Oh. I usually do this at the beginning of the podcast. Give me about 1 minute.
Yeah.
You good?
Absolutely.
Jennifer, not Coach Jen. All right, you're from Atlanta, right? Now in Houston for several different reasons. I want to say that you've blessed the Mean Green culture
Aw.
from a standpoint of just excellence, personality, consistency, most of all love. And I think that only highlights you just in the fitness space.
Yeah.
Who is Jen right now? What do you love besides, fitness is a big thing,
Yeah.
but what do you love beyond that?
Ooh, yeah, fitness is such a big thing, and sometimes I have to be careful because it feels like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm just really into people. That sounds weird, but I genuinely love people, and I want to see people at their happiest.
Yeah.
I want to see people at their best. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram 2, so I'm a classic Enneagram 2.
Yeah.
Caring for people, but I love people, I love the Lord, and that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
It's beautiful. You we'll finish with this question. With you being in Houston, what's some things that you're looking forward to do that you haven't done yet?
Oh, you know what?
The donut thing was funny. Shit, please.
I don't know. I don't know, because I don't go out a lot. I'm kind of a homebody. So I don't feel like there's any one particular thing that I want to do
Yeah.
here. I do enjoy like outdoor activities, but there's not a lot of hiking here in Houston.
Herman Park Hill?
Right, like
Take you 10 seconds.
right. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Try it. Oh, I do want to eat at Waffle Bus.
Waffle Bus. Where's that? Edu? I think you have to go to
Yeah.
where I have all the food trucks. No, I love the Waffle Bus. I've been there once. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Try to get them into the comp.
That's the only thing.
I'm excited for you to see because you moved down here
Like literally a year ago in
Year ago.
September. Like coming up, it'll be like a year.
so you went through a winter. I would love for you to see winter in Houston without the COVID shutdown.
Yeah.
You know, December, January when it's cold in North Carolina or in Atlanta. Atlanta gets pretty cold here and
It
there,
gets
right?
pretty cold.
Yeah, here it's 70 degrees. So I'm still wearing my flip-flops. So
Yeah.
other than that, man, it's been incredible. I hope I can
Yeah.
have you back one day.
Absolutely.
It was so cool to even, I kind of was nervous to ask her to come on. It's like, Jen, would you? She was like, yeah, I kind of was wondering. So
waiting.
it's been dope. But I love your personality. And I just want to continue to see you grow
Yeah.
and blossom. And for you to say the way that you love and the way that you like to fuel people, I see how fitness is such a key
Yeah.
tool for you to utilize that. But if you don't have anything else, I'm out of here.
That's it.
Cool. Well, guys, if you haven't already, please share this. Tag your family and friends. It's our way of allowing men to be the voice where they need to communicate better as a man to other men, to other women, and also society. So again, thank you for tuning in, and we see you next time. Y'all take care.
Bye, everyone.